Hey guys, this is Mr. Hardigay. I'm doing a video on converting quadratic equations from standard form to factored form. And the objective for this video is students will be able to convert quadratic equations from standard form to factored form. This is another way of saying that we are factoring quadratic equations to find the zeros or its zeros. So just a little recap. We knew from when we had school that standard form, so let me see if I can get this into myself. Standard form, let me see if I can get my view to take this off. Okay, so standard form was y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, and so now we have a new one, okay? And we have factored form. So factored form looks like this. X plus b. So x plus a, so the quantity of x plus a times the quantity of x plus b, and it doesn't matter. You could have the x plus b on this side. Really doesn't matter. In fact, I'll do y is equal to x minus a, x minus b. And the interesting thing about factored form is that it actually shows you x-intercepts. So in this case, it's important because it gives x-intercepts. And if you guys recall, x-intercepts are where your function touches your x-axis. Okay, so if I have a function that has this point right here, which is negative 2, 0, and a point here at 2, 0, then the function, okay, will go like this. For instance, this is a quadratic function. Remember, quadratic functions look like a u. It would have two x-intercepts. One's at negative 2, 0, and one at 2, 0. So this is why it's important. So your x-intercepts will be in the format of a comma 0, right? B comma 0. Okay, so this is the new form that we are learning, okay? And basically, if I tell you to convert from standard form to factored form, then you are basically factoring, okay? So let's go ahead and let's get started with factoring. So I'm going to show you. So factoring. I gotta get some grip here. Okay, so factor. So let me give you a good example. I have, let's see. So this one is in, so we have x squared plus 7x plus 10 is equal to 0. Okay, and so that's what we have. And so I'm going to tell you to convert this because, you know what? Better yet, I won't even use 0 yet. I'll just call it, I'll call it y. So I'll say y is equal to x squared plus 7x plus 10. Okay, so that way you remember that that right now is in standard form. So if I want to go ahead and I want to convert this into factored form, it's got to look like that. Okay, and the way we do this is we call this process factoring. And so this is how I learned it and how it makes the most amount of sense to me. So this right here, we just put two parentheses on each side, and then we want to go ahead and think about multiplication. Okay, so when I go ahead and I do x times x, it should give me x squared. Okay, now we're going to have to do a little, let me do a little side note. Side note. So you guys remember that x to the power 0 is 1? Hopefully you guys do. X to the power 2 is just x times x, right? And then if I go ahead and I do x to the power 3 is equal to x times x times x. And what you should notice there, okay, is that, let's see, come on. The exponents, right? Exponent of 1, 1, 1. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 gives you 3. 1 plus 1 gives you 2. And so as you are adding, as you are multiplying the bases, right? Because remember, these are called, let's see, come on, base, and then it's called an exponent, right? So as you multiply bases, the exponents, you have to add them up, right? So when you multiply variables, your exponents add up. Okay, so meaning if I go ahead and I tell you x times x, if I tell you to multiply x times, it should give you x squared. If I tell you to do x times 5 times x to the power 2, it should give you x to the power of 7, because 5 plus 2 will give you 7. Okay, so keeping that in mind, okay, x times x, right, the two little exponents here should give you 2. Okay, and then you go back and you say, okay, cool. So I got that. Now I'm going to say, okay, so what two numbers in this slot, so this area right here, multiplied together will give you us 10. Okay, well, I look at it and I'm like, okay, it'll probably be, let's just see, 5 and 2, right? 5 times 2 will give me 10. Okay, that works. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put plus here. Okay, and so this is what I call, my professor used to teach me, you would call it, let's see, let me use a different color, looks like a rainbow. Here's why, okay? If you put two little dashes here, it's almost like a upside rainbow. So if you know what I'm talking about, it's like you have two little clouds and you have a rainbow, right? It's an upside down rainbow, right? You guys see that? And there's like the sun over here, whatever. Just call it whatever you want. But here's what's going on, okay? You go ahead and let me use purple. Okay? So you go ahead and you do this to check your work. So you do 5 times x would be 5x, okay? 2 times x would give you 2x. And if you really add these two up, okay, 5x plus 2x gives you 7x. And the 7x is actually what corresponds to your term right there in the middle. Okay, so this is called factored form because when you checked it, it gave you 7x. Okay, so let me go ahead and say, so answer, so I'm going to say y is equal to x plus 5 times x plus 2. This is your answer. Okay, so this is called factored form. Okay, so that's called factored form. And essentially, guys, remember what we did is we went ahead and we turned this quadratic equation that was in standard form and we converted it into a factored form. Okay, and essentially that's called factoring. I'm teaching you how to factor. Let me give you another cool example here. So let me do another cool color. I'll do blue now. So I'll do example, so that was example 1. Example 1, I'm going to do example 2 now. Okay, so I'm going to do example 2. Okay, so here's another cool one. Let's just say I have y is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 8. Okay, so I have this thing, and so I have this quadratic equation that is in standard form. So that's in standard form. And I want to go ahead and convert it to factored form. form. So this is factored form, right? So a plus, what was it again? Let's see. Okay. Oops. Sorry guys, I'm learning how to do this thing. But this is what I have. So x plus b, or x, right, plus a. Don't matter. You call it whatever you want. You can flip them around. Who cares? So x plus b or x plus a. Okay, so we're trying to get into that format. So if I go ahead and I do this, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do, okay, y is equal to, I'm gonna set up my two parentheses. Okay, and I'm gonna say, okay, what two variables multiplied together give me x squared? Well, that's x times x, because remember, x times x gives you x squared. Remember, you add those exponents. Okay, and then you go ahead and you think about two numbers that when you multiply together right here in this spot gives you -8. So that'll be, I think 2 times a -4, because if I do 2 times -4, that'll give me -8. So let's give it a shot. Okay, and so if I do this, so positive 2 times -4 will give me -8. Let's see if it works. So let me do my little rainbow thing. Okay, so if I go ahead and do 2 times x, that'll give me 2x. -4 times x will give me -4x. So let's go ahead, and you're basically combining like terms, okay? So 2 times x, again, is 2x. -4 times x is -4x. Okay, so if I go ahead and I double check this, -4x plus 2x, that gives me -2x. Okay, now is that -2x? Is it, guys? I don't think it is, right? So it's not adding up to be the middle term. So try switching that sign right there and this sign right here. So watch this. Okay, so try to. So if I go ahead and so this is kind of, you get better with practice, okay, guys? So if I go ahead and I do y is equal to x minus 2 and x plus 4, let's see if this works now, right? So do your little rainbow to check. So -2 times x is -2x, 4 times x is 4x, okay? And 4x minus 2x gives you 2x. And that adds up to be the middle term, right? Which is 2x right there, right? So this, let me go ahead and put it in red. This is, so y is equal to x minus 2 times x plus 2 is your answer, okay? Because when you combined -2 and x, when you multiply -2 times x, it gives you -2x, and 4 times x gives you positive 4x, so 4x minus 2x gives you 2, and it gave you your middle term. So this is the factored form of this, okay? So again, to recap, it went from y is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 8 to y is equal to x minus 2 times x plus 4. And this was standard, right? And it became into factored form. Thereby, again, guys, we're basically saying that we converted a quadratic equation from, again, standard form to factored form. Okay? Thank you.